So Michael, can you tell us a little bit about a little of what you fancy and what your objectives were in setting up the night originally?
Well, a little what you fancy's been going since a couple of Novembers ago, and I'd done a bit of organising when I was living in Manchester, which is where I started doing poetry, and I've always enjoyed organising. But I think the main thing was there outside of the Poetry Society at the university, there was no live poetry or spoken word being done in the area, and I thought it would be great to kind of change a little bit of the scene here and produce a little bit of an avenue for people to perform and to come together, to swap work, to inspire each other and to give people a chance to perform. Either some of the more established names give them another outlet, or some people have never performed before. Within that, it's been a great success. Many people have read for the first time. There's many people that come now and again because they enjoy performing here along with the other work that they do within poetry and creative work. But the main point as well has been the fact that I've managed to put together Town and Gown, which has been amazing because there's not enough of that kind of assimilation going on within events around this neck of the woods, unfortunately. And it's been a good opportunity to bring students and locals together.
And outside then of the university clientele, do you get many local people attending the event? Do you get poets coming from far to take the chance to read?
Well, yeah, I certainly get with the audience as well. I mean, we've had some people coming up from Belfast, and we've had a few people coming up from Belfast that have read before just to do the open mic. We're also offering £30 for a double room, 2 breakfasts in the hotel for that night specifically, if you're travelling from far afield and want to perform. So within that, we're hoping to make this kind of like a cultural hub of Portstewart, because the town itself is a great asset to itself. I mean, you know, the local countryside and the coastline, and of course the tourist attractions around here. It makes for a beautiful coastline, one of the best in the north. So in fact, one of the best in Ireland, if I can say so. So in that respect, it's great to try and get people up here to perform and to see a little bit of the local colour.
And I love coming up here, and I definitely love experiencing Portstewart, and you've strived to make this very local event at the same time as attracting maybe poets from elsewhere. How do you think a reading here differs from maybe a reading that you would find in the city?
That's a good question. I'd say the fact that there's not as much choice around here means that people do appreciate the fact that the night is on. I think the students enjoy the fact that there's something for them on their doorstep, that they don't have to travel down to Belfast or Derry to achieve. And I think it's mainly that aspect. But one thing I've been very mindful of doing is trying to make it so that the locals get a flavour of the poetry across Northern Ireland through the headliners. And by that effect, it's been incredibly successful in getting some of the best names, which have managed as well not to do too much duplication, because I believe in trying to mix it up. Some scenes can be very kind of esocentric, very kind of themselves, and it can be difficult for people travelling to come in or to leave to perform. So it can be great to give students especially a little bit of an inspiration into some of the poetry coming from the north or the grassroots level, and of course other people that are more established.
And finally, as an event organiser, I know how stressful it can be running your own gig. What tricks and tips do you do yourself to make sure everything runs smoothly and everyone essentially has a good time?
Well, NLP, which I don't believe in a lot of it because I think some of it's a bit of hoo-ha, but I do believe that there's an idea of positive mental attitude, which is that you actually kind of imagine how you see the night going, or you imagine an event or a scene in which things have been successful. And the more you think that way and imagine how that will be, whether it's an audience clapping or just the fact that you got through a poem okay, actually psychologically helps. I think breathing exercises help as well. I happen to suffer sometimes from panic attacks, so I realise the importance of the breath, especially coming from a background where I used to study Buddhism as well. These can be good techniques. And I suppose the other thing is that I've had my fair share of rough gigs, so you always know when things aren't going brilliantly, that, or you're worried about them, that they probably won't be quite as bad as those again.
That's great, Michael. Thanks very much. We're looking forward to hearing all the poets later on. Thanks for your time.
Break poem. When I was someone else, held in my own skin, held in my own mind, I was evil,
And all evils emanated not from what I did, there were always two choices, but from the simple inability to go beyond the clumsy shadow of starting. And it wasn't just me. My family and friends would join me in pain, but what hurt most was knowing that failing to break the world upon a twig would set a standard against them of which I wasn't to blame for doing nothing but the shadow of starting. And since then, there was nothing to fear. No one burned alive, no one taken and pinned to the wall. But the inability to act, just my insanity, fragments of myself stitched and spliced back together, a long initial crackle into a long, smoother movement. But mine's is simply scale. William Burroughs learnt his cut-up technique from a man who convinced for 15 years, convinced that all evil of the world emanated from his body, a shut-in to save everyone. But imagine the horror and dismay at the world he imagined across the back of the hotel room door. But since then, I'm glad I'm still alive and nothing has made me search that other option out. But life can be difficult when you think these things and refuse to act. But at least I saved my family the flat broke love of caring for someone that was just a memory of someone else, a brother, a friend, a son. Just know that you do well to get out alive, but those who can't, I truly empathise. So if these words can reach you, when no one else can, when even your own recollection can't, stay. Stay here. Pretty soon their emotions and embraces will be back. And the seeds of recovery, which are found ironically in psychosis, are the key to knowing the world, your life, yourself. Thank you.